Hey, how you doing? Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. YouTube does not like Chrome, only likes its own stuff. Thank you, Google. Welcome to Happy Hour at Elysian. I'm Joe Bisacca, one of the founders of Elysian, up here at our Capitol Hill location, which was where we opened up in 1996. Was a lot different up in Capitol Hill in 96. It was kind of, it was an outpost. This was not the area you'd go out and party in. But lately it has become the destination. A lot of live music has been through this place. A lot of people have been through this place. A lot of beer spilt on the floor. And I think it's kind of what makes this place so great. It makes it have a soul. Back in 96, a little bit of history about us. So we opened up in 96 because we loved beer and that's what we wanted to do. I think that's what a lot of brewers did when they opened up. It was the same thing. When we opened, we were this single location. We did probably 8% of our sales as kegs out in the marketplace, but everything else was just right here inside the pub. As we grew a little bit and got a little bit bigger, we sold a few more kegs, but it was still mainly pubs. And I think for the first 10 years of our lives in this thing, we were kind of a pub chain. You know, we did a little bit of wholesale, but it was small. But it was mainly here. And Tangletown, one of our other locations that we've got up in the Green Lake area. Around 2006, we opened up our Elysian Fields location, which is down by the stadiums where the Seahawks play and the Sounders play. Big 10,000 square foot place. That was the catalyst that kind of put us in front of everybody, that all of a sudden we weren't some obscure brew pub on Capitol Hill. People began to know who we were. It was right around that same time we introduced Men's Room Red, which was a beer we did for some radio show friends. And that beer, you know, was always intended on being one tiny, small 10-barrel batch for, you know, charity, and turned into a monster, right? We packaged it. It went out in grocery stores. We started selling a ton. Elysian Fields opening and Men's Room Red are the two things that really brought Elysian into the mainstream. We started getting recognized as not just a good brewery, but a decent size one, right? We're reaching a little further afield. Right around that same time, started to take a look at our wholesale business and what we were doing, and kind of our graphics and our ethos into who we were. Early on, Elysian as the name of the brewery, everything that we did was mythologically based, right? So Immortal IPAs, Zephyrus Pilsner, Perseus Porter, Wise ESB, Dragon's Tooth Stout, everything had something to do with Greek and Roman gods. And after 10 years of it, it got a little tiresome. We wanted to do something new. At the same time, we were starting to figure out that selling beer in the grocery stores was actually a pretty good business as well. So we retooled how we were doing business in terms of brewing to package and bottle more beer. And then we also revamped our marketing so it wasn't so mythologically based, right? Opened it up to a lot more stuff. All of our marketing has always been in-house early on, because we could never afford using an outside agency to actually help us do marketing. And now, because you know, it feels better when you do it yourself. You know, I think it just, something rings more true when the brewers come up with the names of the beers, and something just sounds a little better. Feels a little more natural, right? We started packaging more beer, revamped the graphics and the marketing and everything, and got out into the marketplace a little bit better, and started growing really fast. Everything that we did in growth, we always tried to make sure there was balance in that, to go back to what was true, what we really loved, which was the beer, right? The beer. So in doing that, I think it's important to experiment with a lot of styles, try to look for those new cool things with beer, with graphics, with everything that we're doing, create events that are engaging, that give customers an ability to participate in the brand and feel like, it's part of theirs too. It really is. And I think we tried to carry that forward that whole time. Hopefully it works. You can let me know if it does. Over the years, we've done, I think we're up to like 650 or 700 different beers that we've brewed over the years. We do roughly about 90 to 100 styles of beer a year, different beers. Not all those make it in the market. A lot of those are test brews that we do, like here at Capitol Hill, Elysian Fields, we have a little test brewery, and down at our plant we have a little one keg pilot system. One barrel, 2 kegs, right? So experimentation is kind of the root of what we do. Just to give you an idea, we do, like in beers we also do the graphics. So here's some of the graphics for just some of the beers that we've done here up on Capitol Hill. These are our brewers being drawn. Some of the beers can't go out in the marketplace because we sort of plagiarize what's going on. There's also a whole bunch over there, and there's a bunch in back of me over here. That's the fun, and that's what makes it worthwhile, I think. So hopefully that comes through, and you can see that in some of the stuff that we've got. Talk for a few seconds about some of the beers that we've got. So Space Dust was another one of those big catalyst moments that we kicked out. We were experimenting with different IPAs, West Coast IPAs, at our Elysian Fields site. One of our brewers, Steve, was in charge of that, was running through the beers. I had, at our plant in Georgetown, I had a whole bunch of partial boxes of hops. And I had brought them 6 or 8 boxes. One of them evidently was Galaxy, which was a style of hop. But the pellets, that the hops are all pelletized, the pellets had broken apart and the bag was kind of mostly dust. And so he used Space Dust, Galaxy Dust, right, as the code name for this beer that he was working on. And that name has stuck ever since. We don't use Galaxy anymore. Amarillo took its place, but Space Dust became what that is. Space Dust is a monster. It's 8.2% alcohol. It's grapefruit, passion fruit, citrus flavor. It's amazing, beautiful beer. It is very well balanced, so it doesn't taste too strong. I think if there's anything I would like to be known for, what our beer should be known for is balance. They may be strong, they may be powerful, have a lot of strong flavors in them, but they are balanced out where everything kind of plays nice and harmoniously in your glass. So Space Dust is the big monster. The next one over here next to it, Super Fuzz. People always look at that. It's a blood orange pale. People always look at it and they're like, "Oh, did you do that for Jimi Hendrix, local Seattle artist, right?" And no, Super Fuzz was actually named after a 1970s guitar distortion pedal, the Super Fuzz. Actually have them. They're really good. But so that's where that name came from. Music has always been a part of what we do. I think our business growing up in Seattle in the 90s, you couldn't help that, having music being imprinted on you. I think that imprinting is a big thing in that we're sort of like, a snowball rolling down a hill. It gathers more material and becomes something different as it goes. Everybody that has come through our doorstep, every customer that participates with our beer, every employee that we have, every beer that we do, the sum of all those things makes us who we are. It makes us better. And I think we try to be a little mindful of that. So with a lot of our products kind of make that happen too. Contact Haze is one of the newest ones, just came out. That is sort of our twist on a hazy. So hazies really like their juicy profile. They're aromatically amazing, not too bitter, drinkable. The thing that I have had an issue with a lot of times with them is sometimes they get very thick and very viscous, and kind of a little hard to drink a lot of. So for Contact Haze, we tried to do something that was about 6% ABV, more drinkable as far as that goes, and also maintain that juiciness and that aromatic explosion without having it be super viscous, right? So you can actually, this is a sessionable thing you can drink all night long. Have a taste. Let me know what you think. The other one that's new, that's kind of real fun, is I got a chance to hang out with Gus Wenner, who's Jan Wenner's son. He's the founder of Rolling Stone magazine. He came out to Seattle. We went through the brewery, talked about beers, and decided that we should do one. So we have Elysian Rolling Stone Lager. This is just hitting the stores now. It is 4.8% ABV, medium weight lager. It's delicious. It's crisp. It's a little hop forward. So, and not in just a Pilsner way. It's got Cascade Crystal Mandarina hops. So it is kind of a nice change from that traditional Pilsner sauce backbone, right? The beer has been a lot of fun. I think the bummer for us has been the COVID thing, because we've been not able to do all the events that we've been wanting to do with Rolling Stone. Once the COVID thing is kind of settled out, Russ and I have some plans to do some fantastic events locally here in Seattle and then nationally too. So stay tuned for those. Those are going to be a lot of fun. We do a single series too that you can find in some stores around town and you can find at our pubs. And those are kind of paper labeled beers that we do kind of test in the market. So as we do stuff in the pubs that play well, we get something out to you so you can have a chance to try them and give us some feedback on what you think. Death by Mango is one of the latest. Death by Mango is a mango sour. Don't let the sour fool you. The sour is delicate. It's an acidity in that beer, and it's not really overpowering. The mango definitely is forward in the nose and in the taste. Really delicious. We want to see if this is something that should make it up to the big leagues, and get out there in some other paths. That's kind of the big overview I wanted to give. And then at this point, I think we should open it up to any questions anybody has. So I'm going to make my chat chart a little bit bigger and see if I am drinking Rolling Stone Lager right now, because if I was drinking Space Dust, I will start slurring my words, right? What is my favorite beer? So that's a tough one. Mainly the variety and number of beers we do is one of the things that I like the best. But also I think for me, the occasion that I'm drinking that beer speaks a lot to the beer that I think is the best for what I'm doing. If I'm mowing the lawn, I don't want to drink Space Dust, I'm going to use some Toes. If I'm mowing the lawn, Rolling Stone Lager would be great. Contact Haze would be really good. It's a little more quenching out in the sun, feels a little bit better. If I'm out with my buddies at a bar, can't wait to do that again. Space Dust is really good. I always love Space Dust. Our ESB, which is something we still make, I don't think you could sell ESB in the market in general. I don't think people really gravitate towards that style. But our ESB, our cask version of that, is one of the best cask beers that I've tasted. It's fantastic. And that's one that I always love. And again, there's a lot, depends on the mood, depends upon what I'm doing. Good question. Yakima Ingredients was the next one. Yes, we are a couple of hours from Yakima Valley. We are spoiled drop. So over the years, we've developed a lot of relationship with the small Yakima Valley farms to test experimental hops for them. So they'll send us some obscure hop that they started growing on the side, wanting to know how it performs in beer, what sort of profile it has. We use our one-barrel pilot system down at Airport Way to sort of run these through and see what kind of makes some sense, and then we give feedback to those hop farms in terms of what that best use of that hop is. And then once in a while, you come across a hop that you can do as a single varietal for a beer. But I'd say, by and large, when you're using hops, there's a supporting cast when you're using hops. It's not just a single hop, right? So very few can stand on their own. A lot of them need some sort of backbone with it to make them really blossom. So a lot of Yakima ingredients, a lot. Looks like you're brewing beer right now. Hiawatha is back there. We're not brewing today, but he is back there working. I think he's getting things cleaned up. We brew here right now. I think we're brewing a couple times a week, which is a little slower because the pubs are shut down. But normally we're brewing 3 or 4 times a week here, ramping up 3 or 4 times at Elysian Fields, and then the plant is brewing a ton. Yes, we are spoiled. Excellent. It's for ice cold and choice for drinking warm. Choice for ice cold beer and choice for drinking warm. Good question. So for me, a beer to warm up is something that's going to elevate the yeast esters and a little bit of the hop profile when it does warm. Not all beers do it. Our ESB is one of those. When you talk cask beer, you are talking a little warmer, 48, 50 degrees for that cask when it's sitting in your glass. ESB performs very well. Our Mortal IPA also works really well for that. Space Dust I prefer a little colder. A Rolling Stone Lager a little colder. Sours, I think you can go into that warmer range. If you want to accentuate some of the profile that the sour is going to give you, letting it warm up works. If you want to put on some training wheels, cool it down a little bit, right? So I think you can play that game back and forth. Am I going crazy being quarantined? Yeah, who isn't going crazy being quarantined? You know, what the hell do you think I'm doing here right now? I'm trying to get out of doing yard work. The yard is looking phenomenal because that's kind of all I'm doing. It's a necessary thing. I think it is. You know, we're gonna get through it. It's gonna be all right. We've done a bunch of Zoom happy hours with friends. I actually had a Zoom band practice, which was interesting because it just sounded muddy, but it was cool. You know, still getting together with my friends, playing some songs and doing some stuff. Kind of works a little bit. I think you got to be a little more creative to keep yourself sane through all this. Hopefully, you guys are feeling sane too. You have absolutely been in the industry for a long time and seen everything. It says, been in the industry for a long time and seen everything. What excites me now these days in beer? I think it's kind of interesting. You know, we've gone through a few phases where craft beer has been expanding and growing a whole lot, and we've had some phases where it's contracted. I think we're going into a phase now where there is going to be some thinning of the herd and contraction in terms of brewers that are viable out there, just because the COVID thing's been really hard. Whenever those moments hit, it seems like the craft brewing industry raises the bar on the quality and innovation of those beers. And I think we're right at that cusp, especially when you see the downward pressure from seltzers, from kombucha, from all these other beverages that people are trying instead of beer. You know, we start fighting for our lives and trying to bring people back into beer. And when we do, that's when we're at our best, man. That's when we come up with the coolest stuff, right? So I think I'm kind of excited now because I think there's about to be a burst of creativity that's not just IPAs, that's not just hazy, that's not just these things. It's going to show us a whole new range of stuff that we really haven't dove into as much. So I think that's what excites me. So somebody asked if any new hazies are planned for the future. So playing with some ideas, playing with some things. I can't tell you everything that we're working on because I have to keep it a secret. But yes, working on a few variants of that. without being completely locked as hazy, but again, taking some of those profiles of what you like the best out of hazy to bring those into something new. So yes, I have 2 that we're working on right now that you shall see. We'll let the word out as soon as we get a little closer. But they're still in pilot phase. We're still knocking them around a little bit. Hazies and a bunch of other things too, some sours and bottle conditioning and a whole bunch of other stuff. What's the best beer for yard work? I think it's got to be thirst quenching, and it's got to be something that's not going to have too much alcohol, so you're safe, right? The Rolling Stone Lager has been my lawnmower beer, especially because I don't know if it's been happening to anybody else. My grass is growing so fast right now because it's been raining and then sunny and then raining and sunny. I got to mow the lawn like every 2 to 3 days. So I'm going through a bit of Rolling Stone Lager. It's delicious. It works great for that too. What do I drink during jam sessions? Well, the last jam session I was drinking Space Dust. So the jam session got a little interesting on like the 4th or 5th Space Dust. Started doing a lot of freestyle jams, and I don't know that I was listening to what everybody else was doing. So I don't know how it sounded, and I'm glad we didn't record the session because I don't really want to know how bad it was. Who's my favorite Elysian employee? You know, anybody but Matt Dirty. You know, anybody but Matt Dirty. Because, you know. Anyway, I think every employee leaves a different imprint on this place and kind of makes Elysian who it is. So they're all my favorite. How about that? What would I like to see for the 25th anniversary? So next year is our 25th anniversary. We opened up May 10th of '96. So May 10th is the 25th. I opened up Elysian when I was 12. Anyway, it's a big one, and I think I want to revisit some of the stuff from the past, you know, maybe some of the bands that played here back in the day, maybe revisit some of the cool things that we did. For the 15th year anniversary, we printed out a list of every beer that we made for the 15 years. And it was a couple of hundred, right? And customers at the pubs would vote on their favorite beer, and then we brewed the top 10. And that was the 15th year anniversary party. We had the top 10 beers that everybody voted on of their favorite beers from the past 15 years. So for the 25th, I think something like that as a facet would be kind of cool in showing, you know, here's the 600 and something beers that we've brewed. What do you guys think are the best ones out of that bunch? I think that would be cool. I think that would be really cool. Is there a plan for expanding the radius of our delivery range? So we have this like 1998 Honda Element that we've been delivering in, and the range is basically defined by how far I think this thing will go before it actually dies on us. So it's kind of predicated on the equipment that we're using for it. It used to be my partner Dick's car that he had, and then we bought it from him. Dick was a head brewer, the business partner here. So it's his old vehicle, and we put hundreds of thousands of miles on this thing. At this point, I don't think we have the capability of getting much further out. But, you know, we're inching a little further. And we're trying to work with Drizzly and a few other things to try to expand that range a little bit as well. Inspiration for Rolling Stone Lager. The inspiration for Rolling Stone Lager kind of came from that thing, you know, I was talking with Gus, and it's like, you know, well, what style of beer should we do? And for me, I always go back to those moments, right? What's the occasion that you're going to drink this beer, and then what should that be, right? So if you're drinking a beer that's Elysian and Rolling Stone, to me, it's the live show, right? To me, you're at the concert, you're seeing your favorite band, you're at the club, and the band's playing. So you want something that's quenching, that you can drink a lot of, that you're not going to miss the show because you're going to get too hammered, that's refreshing, that you're going to be coherent because you may see somebody you want to have a conversation with and you don't want to sound like a jerk. I kind of sound like a jerk once in a while anyway, but we'll leave that. So Rolling Stone lager, that medium weight lager seemed to be that sweet spot, right? You do sort of a hop forward lager with a beautiful profile into it, nice crisp body, something that you could drink all night long during that show. You could drink all night long when you're playing music. You can drink all night long, you know, at 100 different things. I think that beer makes sense, right? So I think it works great. A lot of people are mowing the lawn, it seems. I've been seeing a lot of that. I had some old friends. So before I opened up Elysian, I was a psychology English major, art minor, and then went into banking. So I did this little stint in banking for a while. I hated banking, paid the bills, and got some good training to open up here. But I have a lot of friends who are kind of poking in on here from back in the day in banking. I still can't balance my own checkbook. Can I get a keg delivered to my local store mart? So that's kegs have been kind of an interesting thing in that a lot of breweries, us included, during the COVID crisis, we're not making a lot of kegs because they're not getting sold, and because restaurants and bars aren't actually pouring beer. So the concern is that the beer gets old, right? And the worst thing you want is old beer. You know, you do a hoppy beer like a IPA, you know, 90 days is kind of about the limit of where I would see. You start to see a lot of that amazing aromatics and the profile fall off. Fresher's better. And so a lot of these kegs are going to sit around and get old. So we're not filling a lot. So it is a little tough to find kegs of Elysian out there. There may be some, few and far between. You can get kegs at our tap room and at Capitol Hill. So we still sell kegs direct from source, and you can set up to actually get those. But mainly it's 6-packs and cases, and half-packs, and mixed cases. Let's see. So the Pumpkin Beer Fest. So right now, Search Party, which is our summer music festival we usually do at Seattle Center, had to be canceled because of the COVID thing. Right now, the Pumpkin Beer Festival is still on. We still have the dates locked in. Right now, everything is a wait and see. So we're waiting and seeing. Everything is still planned. Everything is ready to go. We will push to get the thing done in some way, shape, or form. Question was, would we do a summer version of Pumpkin Fest? I am always amazed that we start brewing pumpkin beer in late June, right? And we're actually have wholesalers placing orders now for pumpkin beer to get ahead of the game. Shocks me. I cannot understand why anybody would want to drink pumpkin beer in August. Doesn't make any sense. But you do, and people love it. So we do it. Bringing the Pumpkin Fest into the summer would just be, it's a lot of thick, heavy beers. For the Search Party event, that'll be our summer event. I think we're going to focus more on, you know, stuff you want to crush in the sun, stuff you want to play lawn games with and listen to music. Probably a lot of Rolling Stone lager too. Probably we'll do stuff with Rolling Stone at Search Party next year. Keep posting, right? Let's see what else is in here. People are talking to each other on this right now. It's amazing. Okay, I think I'm through most of the questions. Anybody else have any questions about anything out there? Anything you want to know? Anything you want to talk about during happy hour? Best band that has played at Elysian. So it's been a lot of really good ones. So there's two things that come in mind, and I have a problem picking the best one. First one, there was a band in the 90s in Seattle called Sycophant. It was a 3-piece, acoustic guitar, acoustic bass, and drums. And these guys rocked. They were amazing. The bass player, I think, went and became a lawyer, so the band broke up. See, lawyers, they just ruin it for everybody. They were absolutely fantastic. We would pack this place, Elysian Capitol Hill. We had about 400 people in here or so, absolutely jammed. High power, high energy. You should be able to Google and search for the Sycophant live at the Sit and Spin, which was a recording that they made. The Sit and Spin was another bar in town, and they recorded that show. They didn't record some of the shows they had here, but Sycophant was amazing. The other one that I think was amazing is we did for Halloween this thing called Ghoul Booty. So led by Scarrick, who's a local Seattle fixture in the music world, saxophone player. He would gather together. It was Ohm from Hell's Bells, Reggie Watts from Mock played in it. We had Davey C. We had Scarrick, obviously. All these people. There's probably 10 or 12 musicians in the group, and 5 or 6 of them were on stage playing at any given moment. And it was a P-Funk band, and they kind of did like one song the whole night for 5 hours, switching on and off with instruments. So the bass player would just pass the instrument, the next guys would get up, and it was incredible. It was Halloween night. Everybody was dressed up. There was mind-altering things going on too, but it was phenomenal. Like both of those things, Sycophant, Ghoul Booty. Ghoul Booty is something I would want to bring back. I think, Scarrick, if you're out there listening, I'd love to get back into that. Ghoul Booty was awesome. Best Elysian memory, several, and I think those best memories are the ones where I thought we were going to go out of business because we were broke and we didn't have any money, and we didn't. For some reason we were able to pay rent and make payroll. Treading water, staying around. I think just those day-to-day small moments collectively are the best. Those are cool. What's my favorite all-time band or musician? God, that's a tough one again too. So I'm a little spoiled. So my dad worked for the NIT, the Not Important Tournament, which was the National Invitation Tournament back east. And they did their tournament at Madison Square Garden every year. So when I was a kid, I could get free tickets for all the concerts at Madison Square Garden because of his relationship with them. So my first concert, it's at the high water mark. I saw Queen in 1980 at their height, right? So it was unbelievable. To this day, one of the best shows I've ever seen. Absolutely fantastic. You see Freddie Mercury in his prime. Anything else after that, God, just hard to measure up, I saw Plant and Page a couple of times. They were fantastic. Seeing The Who in the 80s was great. I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan at Madison Square Garden for David Bowie's Let's Dance tour, because Stevie Ray Vaughan was the guitarist on that album and played I think that one show. It's mind-blowing. I didn't know who Stevie Ray Vaughan was at that time. This is incredible. So there's a lot. Seattle in the 90s, I remember going to the off-ramp or Rock Candy and walking in and Pearl Jam's playing, and they were just one of the local bands, right? They were starting to get big, but it hadn't really hit yet. There was that kind of cool stuff. That was early 90s. There's a lot of them, and kind of depends on the mood I'm in too. Like beer, I think music is the same thing. Depends on your mood, right? If I could be any animal or creature, what would I be? I think I would aspire to be a lion, but I would probably wind up being more like a platypus. You take what you can take, right? Can you bring your syphilis check directly? Yes, I'll even give you a discount. Absolutely. We'll totally take it. Are there any plans for 19.2 ounce cans? So here's the big can thing, right? I think big format cans, the 19.2 is that thing destined to replace the 22-ounce bottle? 22-ounce bottles were something we as brewers used, not because we had something with 22-ounce bottles. It was just something we could get. Like, there was literally the Heritage short, stubby 12-ounce and these big 22s, and those were the only things that you could get. And if you did 12-ounce, you had to put them in 6-pack carriers. We didn't have the money to do that. So you do 22-ounce single serve and you can kick them out. So it was less a plan, more just the things that we could do. 22-ounce bottles are kind of going away. The 19.2 can is that nice single serve thing. The difference for me with the bottle and the can is the aluminum in the can warms up when you hold it in your hand, right? And warms the beer up faster than it does in the bottle. So when you drink a 19.2-ounce can of beer, you get to that last bit, it warms up and can taste a little funky. So you should drink it really fast. No, you should either put a koozie around it or you should do something to make it last a little longer. Yes, we do have ideas for 19.2-ounce cans for convenience stores, for stadiums. Most stadiums now don't want any bottles, and they don't want 16-ounce. They all want the 19.2s. So we have to go to that size for a lot of our beers just to have access to some of those markets. They are coming. We just installed a new can filler like a week ago, and it's just getting up to speed. That can filler does run 19.2s. That's Hiawatha. He's our brewer here. He's making beer. He's so personable. What instrument do you play? I play the guitar. What's the fastest you've ever driven the Super Fuzz car? So we had a couple of bucks that we got to get an award for the top wholesaler salesperson in the state, and frivolously I decided that for that prize we should get something cool. So we bought a 1972 Challenger, an orange one with a 344 barrel, and we painted it kind of Super Fuzz colors to give us the top prize. Halfway through the contest, I kind of scraped up some more cash to offer the car or cash in hope that we didn't get rid of the car, and the person took the cash. So awesome, we kept the car. So the Super Fuzz car, the thing about it is it's set up like a race car, so it's geared quick, not fast. So 0 to 60 is like that, and it tops out like 75 miles an hour. It's just not geared to go that fast. Other cars, 75 is when I shift from second to third usually. I'm not so good at it. Hiawatha, everyone's saying hi to you. Yeah, I am going to attend the Seattle Virtual Beer Fest. I want to see how this thing goes. I've been getting more and more into these beer fests. People are saying hi to you.
Hey guys, hey everybody.
He did the hand thing when he did that. I think the virtual thing is getting kind of cool. I'm getting a little better at it. Not this, I'm still terrible at this, but online with friends, it's like it kind of feels like they're in the room, and it's good. So I think a virtual beer festival, yeah, I kind of want to see what that's like. I think it should be cool. Yeah, somebody asked if I'm thinking about adding any other supercars to our collection. So if left to my own devices, we would need like a 10-car garage for all of them, because it's like, so we got the 72 Challenger, and it's like, that's kind of cool. And then like, God, one of those like 1975, 1976 shorty vans with a little window, like something that you totally think would have like, free ice cream painted on the side or something. Be really cool. And then murder it out. Flat black, Krager rims, make it really cool. Like, I'd love something like that. I don't know. I could get carried away quick. Have I ever watched The Wizard of Oz while listening to The Dark Side of the Moon? Absolutely, dude. It's synced perfectly That is a good job for something like space dust. Puts you in the mood for it, totally. Last time we did this, we got on the topic of movies too. It was pretty fun. Good. You should. Everybody should come out and make it a point to come see us once we get open. We're dying to have some people in here. I think too, when we are able to like open, I think we got to go throw some kind of party. I think we got to celebrate it. We got to brew something for it. It's got to be something special, because this has been rather long locked up, going a little stir crazy. The Oakland, somebody asked, when is the Oakland region going to get Space Dust 6-pack cans in a box? Should be there already. Should be out there already, because those are coming from one of the other breweries that we contract with, and those are going out all over the place. So I will look into that. Those should be landed on the ground in Oakland easily for you. Okay, this person turned 21 2 months before the quarantine started. You turned 21 2 months before the quarantine started. Ah, that's terrible. So, like, no practice time. When this thing ends, we'll take care of you. Come over. Absolutely. Not going to be merciful, mind you. We're going to have you try all the strong stuff. So it'll be good. Somebody just said I should get the contact Hayes DeLorean. I think that would be awesome. A DeLorean.
I'm just giving a quick shout.
Well, it's locked out, yeah.
Hey, Dirty, keep those babies safe.
We gotta go back to my stream here. There we go.
And you should keep talking about the Lord.
Oh, somebody said what my favorite non-Elysian beer is. Again, depends on what I'm doing. I think, like, if it's that thing of like, okay, you're trapped on a desert island. You have one beer with you. It's got to be a non-Elysian beer. What would you wind up bringing in there? So you want to have something that's not going to bore you, something that's going to be quenching, something that's going to be delicious and nice. Saison Dupont, I think, is kind of that beer. I think for me, that's that one that is, I mean, I'm never going to get bored with. It's always going to seem great, and it's going to be fine. And it's that balance. It's not too big. It's not dumbed down. It's a perfect balance, I think. Really great beer. Hang on, I got to read this. So do we think we'll be able to get beer shipped out of state soon? So state by state, there's so many different laws, right? So right now you can, I think it will be relaxed to go more interstate shipping, direct to consumer. I think that's coming down the pike. The whole industry is changing around. The biggest issue with it's not just a federal issue. It's also all the participating states have to agree on manner in which it's going to take place too. And if you ever try to get, Texas to talk to California, good luck, right? So it is going to take a while to get everybody on board and on the same page. I do think it's coming. I think post-COVID, there's going to be a lot of laws like that, like just in Washington State, like there were restaurants can now sell mixed cocktails to go. So they can mix a cocktail at the bar, can it, and sell it to you to take with your food to go. That's really cool. We should keep that, that should be something that stays, I think. So is this COVID thing going to be a catalyst? I think so. I think it's going to wind up changing a lot of those laws, locally, statewide, nationally too, to accommodate kind of the new norm. I think post-COVID, things will get normal, but normal is going to be different than what normal was before. We're going to do different things. We're going to take different actions. We're going to want to, there's some things we're going to want to keep doing. Not yard work, other stuff, but we're going to want to keep doing them, right? What else we got here? It's like a whole conversation going on in this thing. Any new brew pubs in the works? So everybody's got a brew pub, right? We had a bunch of brew pubs. We have 2 now, right? 3, including the tasting room. They're okay. Kind of not interesting enough. What I'd love to do like a music venue brew pub. I'd love to do something where we have live shows and we record the sessions, and then you could, like, if you got a session from some band playing live at the Elysian, I think that sounds cool, right? So maybe we do something like that instead. Maybe it's outside the norm. You know, it's not that pub environment. I don't think we're a restaurant chain. We're not a restaurant chain. We're a brewery, and we should focus on the things that really make us great and make us better. And I think getting more involved in music could spur that on and be pretty good. Maybe these guys would want to play. You guys still on? What got you interested in beer? What was the first beer I ever had? So the first beer I ever had, I'll start there. You know, I drank like a Miller Genuine Draft or something. Right? Somebody had it, something, right? My father's basement fridge. The first beer I really bought that got me into craft beer and into beer was actually an Australian beer. And from the 80s and early 90s, people would kind of remember this one, Cooper's Real Ale. So Cooper's Real Ale was kind of early craft, right? And they, when they shipped the beer to the States, there was actually a little bit of yeast sediment in the bottom of the bottle. And you're supposed to not pour that out, but you could culture that up and actually brew with it. When I got to college, a buddy of mine, Mike Patient, roommate, he was brewing beer, and I had never seen it before, and it was cheaper than buying beer, so I decided to try it. And we actually used Cooper's Real Ale. We harvested the yeast and kind of cultured it up and brewed some stuff with it. It was okay. You know, when you first start brewing, they're a little wonky, right? Takes a while. And that's where that love started, is really that process. It was kind of cool taking this list of ingredients that I put together, and I try to coerce these flavors to kind of jive and work together. And then I hand that over to this living organism, yeast. And yeast kind of does its own thing, you know? And you try to have the right environment for it, and right pH, and no sunlight hitting it, and the right temperature ranges, and you're trying to make everything perfect so that yeast can do the best job that it can. And it's that partnership between you and what you do and nature and what it does that comes together to produce beer. I always found that really engaging. I thought that was really cool. So I think that's the thing that I love about beer that brings me back to it all the time. The Drizzly app, I think our Drizzly app is active in Seattle. So we are live on that. Yep, and we have our delivery here too. So you can go onto ElysianBrewing.com. We have a delivery thing there. You can order from our Capitol Hill Brew Pub. We'll deliver, we do local Capitol Hill for food and beer. And then we have certain times out of our Airport Way location, we'll be deliver beer in our truck out to you. And it's cheap, and it's good, it's fresh, it's guaranteed fresh. Somebody asked where my son is going to college. He chose Willamette in Oregon. He's 19. I feel old, right? Do I have any hobby outside of Elysian? Quite a few. Yard work does not count. Guitar, play a lot of music. I still paint. I still do art, kind of for myself. So I chuck that out a lot. I'm a big sailor. Recently sold my boat, but about to get another boat. And I like racing sailing, like trying to get, you know, not the biggest boat, but the fastest, right? That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. What's for dinner? Oh, Jesus. That was my wife. I don't know what's for dinner. I might get something from Capitol Hill, hon. I'll give you a buzz and let you know. Let's see. Is friends coming out of town? Are you camping? Oh, you're going camping. What beer would you suggest? So definitely, I think cans, because you can compact them and pack them out. It's important to tread lightly when you're out there in the mountains. The nice thing about cans is you could also chuck them in the water, in the streams, which are nice and cold now with all the runoff from the melting snow. Chills the beer down to a perfect 34. It's awesome. I think you should bring two different styles of beer. I think you should have one style of beer during the day, because you don't want to walk off a cliff and you don't want to fall down something or hurt yourself. Rolling Stone Lager, I think, would work great for that. Contact Haze, I think, would be another beer that would be fantastic for us. And then I think you should take another beer that's a little higher octane for when you're sitting around the campfire. Space Dust is awesome for that. Or you could take Space Dust and Super Fuzz, and you're going to get some efficiencies out of this. If you take half Space Dust and half Super Fuzz, and you put the Super Fuzz halfway in the glass and then Space Dust and top it off, you make a fuzz duster. The brewers do it all the time. It's actually really good. You get 3 beers for only carrying 2 in the woods. That's pretty good, right? What else we got? What's the biggest change in operating breweries since the rise of Amazon and other gentrification? So I think the Amazon culture, so it's Amazon, Google, Facebook, when you look at these things, their culture, their employees is very internal. So, these guys are working 10, 12 hours a day. They're going home and playing video games. So they're not as engaged going out into restaurants and bars, but they are buying a lot of beer in grocery stores, delivery apps, and those sort of things. So I think it is that shift from what we call on-premise, which is restaurant bar land, to off-premise, which is grocery store line. There's that shift where you do less business in that draft sales and more business in the others. And I think that's not a trend that's going away anytime soon. I think there's something to be said. We miss a little bit of social engagement going out to restaurants and bars, and I always encourage people to do that as much as they can. Support your local bar, support your local restaurant, get out there. A lot of these places are mom and pop shops. These guys are making their living at it. That's a fantastic point. The other thing is for you, getting out and meeting new people, getting out and being in a crowd. It just feels better, I think. It's cool. Kind of miss it. I don't want that to go away as a whole. Let's see, what else we got on there? What am I looking forward to the most this summer? God, having some friends over for a barbecue. There's nothing worse, I'm going to go to it again, than doing all this yard work and not being able to show anybody what you did. What's going to happen is the yard's going to look absolutely amazing. I'm going to get burnt, and I'm going to stop, and then it's going to overgrow. And then COVID's going to end, and everybody's going to come over and be like, Jesus, your lard looks like shit. What the hell happened? So, I think having friends over, I miss that. I miss entertaining at the house. What are my thoughts about the explosion of craft beer over the past 25 years? I think a few, Craft beer came in the market, and we came out. Elysian was the second wave, so to speak. First wave is Anchor Steam, Sierra Nevada, all those guys. Second wave was New Belgium and us, and all those guys, Stone. And I think one of the things that we always said is, we want to make beer better. We want to show you a better way to drink beer. And it's not just these industrial lagers. It's this incredible range of things that we could do. So back in the 90s, we brought some traditional British and German and Czechoslovakian styles in, and we had ESBs and IPAs and all this kind of stuff, and exposed people to these new varietals of beers. And then as the number of breweries increased, we experimented and explored more and experimented with new styles, created styles, brought some new things to the table. And I think one of the things we inadvertently did is we created really fickle customers in that we showed you how much cool stuff is out there. Now your expectation is, hey, you better keep on making some cool stuff, right? You get bored quick, which is not a bad thing. So I think part of it is also that piece where we, it's pushed the innovation to us to try to rise to that occasion from that thing that we started, right? So it is cool, and I think that's made us better overall. Let's see, where is there's 25 years. Am I a hockey fan? Yeah, I'm a hockey fan. Space Dust would be a great name. I heard they're looking at the Kraken for the name for the Seattle hockey team. I heard a little bird told me, but we'll see. It'd be a cool name too. Space Dust would be a great name for a bunch of things. And I think, when you think of hockey, black eyes, missing teeth, getting in fights, high sticking. Yeah, totally. Space Dust, a big ass kicking IPA. Totally. That's absolutely the right beer for the moment. Let's see what else we got. Seattle Murder Hornets. Yeah, so how is 2020? What the hell? Like, this year has been just successively like one thing after another. Like, oh my God, that's bad. Like COVID is terrible. We have to stay home. No, you get murder hornets now. Like, are you kidding me? What else is out there? Jesus. The year. So we brewed in 2012, right? It was supposed to be the apocalypse, right? And it was supposed to be a good one with zombies and everything else. Not this bullshit. So we decided to do the 12 beers of the apocalypse. So we brewed a different beer every month. We did them in 22-ounce bottles in the market. Every month we had to kick out a new beer. And the idea was, if the world was going to end, what would be the 12 beers that you would want to make before the whole thing dies, right? And so, like, no holds barred. And so there were some great ones. So Superfuzz was an imperial version of Superfuzz was one of those beers. We had Mortis, which was this persimmon sour, phenomenal beer. We made a pale beet Bock and sort of overdid the beets a little bit, and it was really earthy, really earthy. It's kind of a little wonky. Remember, we did one called Pest. That was this chocolate chili stout that was like the chilies kind of got away from us a little bit, and it was super, super hot, but would make a great marinade for flank steak. It would be like the best mole sauce that you ever had. I think like there's got to be something for the COVID thing that we do. We did that for 2012. I think we got to do something for 2020. Let me work on that a little bit. I'm going to figure something out. I got a couple more questions here that I could do before they pull my plug. Really cool. Yes, I am going to do this again. I don't know when, but I think we can do this once. And I think I'm thinking more like a late night talk show thing, where I'll host it and sit off on the side. But I think we should interview some of the brewers and interview some of the design staff and those folks, the people that really make it what it is. And you guys can ask them questions too. They're awesome. They're fantastic. Let's see. So how do I compete with the bigger brands while maintaining quality control? I think really by not competing with the bigger brands. I think what you do, when we do something, we do it because we think it's the right reasons. And we do it for the love of beer, and we do it for what we feel represents Elysian the best. And you focus at that, and you do that. And I kind of really don't care what the other brands are doing. I'm more concerned about what we're doing here. I don't want to follow what they're doing. I want to lead a little bit, on it. So hopefully, I think focus internally on yourself, trying to make yourself better. That that's a more noble cause and a more noble reason, and hopefully leads to better beer, right? In the meantime. Yes, I have thought about changing my last name to Exotic. Totally have. Getting some tats and growing the little things there, right? Right. Fucking Carol Baskin. Anyway, hey, it's been fantastic talking to everybody, answering a few questions. We're going to set up another one of these pretty soon. We'll keep you posted on when it's going to be. Thanks for participating, and have a good happy hour. Cheers. Enjoy the sun. Enjoy the weather. Thanks. Boom.